My name is Lauren Abel, and I am a designer and partner with Guava Con Queso, a t-shirt company for babies and kids.
And how did you get started with Guava Con Queso?
Well, my sister just had her first child, and we were looking for kind of cute baby clothes to get him, and didn't really find anything that we thought was, I guess, super cute from kind of a Miami perspective where we both grew up from. And so we started toying around with the idea of making shirts that kind of represented our childhood.
Mm-hmm. And how did you first start getting it out there to people?
We created an Instagram account and a Facebook account, and that was kind of our primary channels that we were reaching people on, and kind of use those two social media platforms to post photos. We'd put together some professional photo shoots of kids in the Miami area in our shirts and in kind of iconic areas around Miami, like Maxon Hammock or the South Beach area, and had a big backlog of images and started sharing those pictures strategically on Instagram and Facebook.
And when you first got people to start following you, how did you get people to go to your page? Were you just, like you said, searching for people, like following people,
Mm-hmm.
or just did you create certain hashtags for your posts?
We created certain hashtags for our posts, and we started following folks that we thought were kind of like aligned with our brand. So people in the Miami area with young kids who seemed very kind of like fashion forward from a baby fashion perspective.
So based on how you say you were researching people through hashtags, how do you figure out what to research? How do you go about finding that?
That's a great idea. That's a great question. We started doing stuff that was intuitive to us, like Miami or babies. And as we'd follow kind of like tastemakers, if you will, or Instagram influencers, seeing what they're using as hashtags, right? Like we were new to the scene, right? What were people who were pretty active in this space doing? Who were they following? Who were they commenting at? That kind of stuff, and seeing what who commenting on posts, like always responding to what people were commenting on our Instagram feed, kind of having that really interactive social media policy where if someone puts a comment on our Instagram post, that we reply back to them.
And how long did that research take before you started really engaging with people or creating hashtags or certain posts to cater to them?
Yeah, I think it takes a while. In some ways you can start all this right off the bat, right? Like, it's never too early to be like interacting with your followers or interacting on other people's Instagram feeds or social media platforms. That's how you build kind of a voice and build relationships with people online. But I think in the end, like the hashtags that we kind of like we kind of cultivated a list of hashtags that we just went back to all the time, things that made sense for our brand. I don't think we didn't want to be one of those posts that had like a paragraph of hashtags at the end. People do that, and I think there's probably a lot of effectiveness around that, but I think that's also a really deliberate brand choice. Kind of being selective about having a leaner list of things that we were tagging in.
Do you have any advice for using social media for any companies? Something that you found really important to know?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love the research aspect of it. We've used Facebook to run advertisements, and it's been fascinating to see one image has just outperformed every other image we've used. We've used tons of different ones. And it's still this one picture of this super cute baby that like always wins. I think that stuff is really fascinating. Like what you as the business owner think is great is not necessarily what the customer thinks is great. And I think that the really cool thing about social media is it gives you a platform to test a lot of that stuff out before you make a big investment. Being able to like test out design ideas with Instagram followers, or see what types of t-shirt designs people like before actually going to print them. That's a really helpful.
Yeah.
That's a totally helpful tool to know.
What is your advice for any startup company getting started?
Ooh. That's a great question. I feel like good advice that I've received that I think is often hard to hear if you're someone who likes to do a lot of stuff is to focus on one thing, that you can't be successful doing something halfway while you're doing other stuff on the side. And I think that's a really tough advice to internalize when you're someone who loves to do a bunch of stuff and has tons of ideas. And I think like having a side hustle while you're like building something up makes a ton of sense, but I think being able to eventually focus and put like all your eggs in one basket when the timing is right, and I think that's a big success factor. And I've worked with a lot of investors in kind of other aspects of my career, and this was advice that I just heard over and over again. It was like that in order to be successful, you need to be putting all your energy into kind of your idea. It can't be like some of your energy while you're doing 8 other things on the side.